Hi, everyone. Um, my name is Matt, aka Trilient. I am a game designer for an indie developer studio called Cosmic Echo Games. That was a side project. Well, not really a side project, but that was kind of a hobby studio I created about a year and a half ago at this point now. But I have a great group of guys there that are working on some awesome projects, and we are working through some cool things. So just look us up, Cosmic Echo Games. I'll also have links in the description of this video for that. But that's not really what I want to talk about today. Today, what I want to talk about is my side project. This is my actual side project, aside from Cosmic Echo Games. Um, this is Nova Game Engine. It is a stylized 2D game engine, which makes it easier to create games like Octopath Traveler or Forgive Me Father, things like that. You know, things with like stylized 2D art or pixel art, creating assets and putting them in. Creating 2D assets and putting them in 3D environments. That's what this engine is all about. And I'm going to demonstrate some of that today. Um, so I've been working on this for about 3 months now, and it's coming along nicely. It's still very, very early um, in the development cycle. So, like I said, it's only about 3 months old, but I've got it at a point now where I think I can start talking about it, and I want to kind of showcase some of that. So right now, what it's using for a renderer is OpenGL, which is kind of an older renderer, but it's pretty lightweight these days. I am looking at possibly adding a Vulkan renderer to it at some point, but that's going to be kind of far in the future. You know, right now I'm just still getting things lined out. You know, shadows still don't even really behave like you would expect them to. You know, they're kind of offset here from the front of this plant. So yeah, I mean, there's still some things to be worked on, but it's in a very good state right now. You can actually create and play a full-fledged game with it, basically. There's a lot of work to be done, but I want to go through some features. So let's talk about that. Um, the first thing is, as you can see, everything is stylized. The sky is stylized. The sun is stylized. There's God rays and stuff coming out. You can see this particle system here has some really nice God rays, you know, coming off of the particles and things like that. There's volumetric lighting, which is not true like volumetrics. It's not like Unreal Engine level. It's kind of screen space volumetrics, but you know, it does the job and it looks really nice. And I think for an engine like this, you want it to be kind of lightweight and you know, run as fast as possible. I mean, this whole engine is about 500 megabytes in size, so it's not anywhere close to massive game engines like Unreal or Unity engine. But the whole idea, you know, is stylization. And I think it really does the job, even in its current state. It's pretty buggy, but I'll actually play through this map just so you can see kind of how things look. So this is the play mode. I do have the collider offset a little bit because I was toying with an idea of like, oh, maybe the character can, you know, fall through the floor a little bit to make it look like he's actually walking through the grass. So I do have the floor collider down just a little bit to where his feet go below that. So don't worry about that. That's not a bug or anything. That's something I did on purpose. But just to show you, you know, there's input here. I'm moving with WASD. Uh, the player is, you know, using a state machine on the back end to animate and change his sprite animations. There's jump controls and things like that. You can see he's interacting with the lighting and shadow systems. If I have two directions going at once, like right now I'm pressing up and to the right, you can see his animation kind of freezes up. So, you know, there's some work to be done there. But, you know, for the most part, if I just go like with a single direction, he moves, rotates, changes animations just fine. You can see everything is placed in a 3D environment, and all of these meshes here are textured with an actual tile set. I'll go into that more because that's one of my favorite features of this so far is the build mode. Um, but yeah, I'll go into that a little bit in a here in a few minutes because the build mode is pretty cool and interesting. But there is, you know, full-on particle systems. You can see the particles there interacting with the lighting and shadows. There is you can't really see it too much here, but that's actually a fluid sim. It's a 2D fluid sim. So there's some mist right here, and it looks better at night. I'll switch it to night here in a minute. But yeah, so I have a lot of systems in place already that I think work really well. Um, I'll switch it over to night just because I think the night scene is actually one of my favorites as far as the way everything looks. So all you got to do to switch to night is just kind of rotate your directional light just like you would in kind of any other game engine. And it does switch to a moon, which I think is also nice. And you can kind of see it, but it's not as strong at night, but there is still volumetric lighting. You can kind of see it like over here. If I move around, you can kind of see it coming off of the edge of the trees, which is lovely to look at. Um, you can see the mist a lot better, the fluid sim a lot better here. One of the things I like is I have a pixelation filter, which helps to kind of blend some of these harsh edges on these meshes together. So I can put a pixelation filter here on the screen. If I go to my environment here, there is a post-process component down here, and you can see like which effects are enabled by looking at these blue triggers, these blue icons. You can see what effects are enabled. This is like all of the effects for the post-process. But down here at the bottom, there's pixelation. You can click that icon there to enable it. And now there's a pixelation filter across the whole screen. You can adjust the size of the filter, of the pixels on the filter. And you can see it helps to kind of blend these harsh edges together a little better. I'm going to turn it down. I'm going to leave it at 4 because I think that looks kind of the best. It creates some interesting dynamics. You know, it is the opposite of anti-aliasing. This is actually just aliasing. Um, this is aliasing everything. So it does kind of, you know, fight with your anti-aliasing systems if you have that turned on. But I think for an engine like this or for a game that looks like this, it's probably not necessary to have anti-aliasing to begin with. But it is there. There is anti-aliasing. Oh, right here. Actually, I'm going to disable that. It was already enabled, so I'm going to turn that off. But yeah. Um, okay. So that's cool, right? You can put a pixelation filter over the whole screen, but you can also, I'm going to turn it off, and you can put pixelation filters on your individual VFX. So right here, this is mist, by the way, this is my fluid sim component. I'm going to go to pixelation here, enable pixelation, and you can only you can like turn on pixelation just for your effects. Now you'll see the pixels on this are stretched, and that's just because I made it really wide. Like I stretched it out to turn it into kind of a misty shape. Um, I don't know if I'm going to get to like the particle system and fluid sims in this video. I'll probably do that in a future video. Because this one I just want to kind of showcase, you know, the generalness, like the overall features of the engine, plus like some of the environmental features. Um, so I'm not going to dive into fluid sims on it today, but everything is very easy to use. The whole point of this engine is like simplicity. Okay, so also I'm an Unreal Engine developer, so a lot of the hotkeys are very similar. Like if you want to open your asset browser, Control Space does that, just like this, except for instead of it being a drawer that just kind of pops up and goes away, it actually docks it down to the bottom of the screen. If you hit Control Space again, it'll undock it and hide it away. So you can open up your asset browser that way. So yeah, I did borrow a lot from Unreal Engine just because I have so much time and experience with it. As far as like the user interface, so the moving around in the scene is the same as Unreal Engine. Just like you can use your scroll wheel while moving to increase or decrease your camera speed. There's also a separate camera speed control right here up in the corner, so you can turn this up and now you can fly around faster. Um, I'm going to turn this back down to 5-ish. I should probably make this a drag number field like these other controls here, just like this pixelation filter, that field here where you can drag and control like the progress bar. Uh, it's called a drag number field. I should probably switch it to this because I can't actually double click and type in on the speed there. Um, so just things I'm noticing as I continue to use this, even though there's so much that goes into this. So I'm also very scatterbrained. I apologize ahead of time for just kind of jumping around from topic to topic, but there's so much to talk about, and I really want to get to it because this program is exciting for me. This whole project is very exciting for me. So, anyways, um, so yeah, there are some features here in the environment that you can see, like the nighttime. This is just kind of the default nighttime almost. Now, there are some effects here that are not enabled by default, and that is the aurora. So there's an aurora borealis effect. This is built into the skybox. Same thing for this kind of Milky Way looking effect. It's not perfect because it's all done through shaders. So eventually I might replace that with something better, but that kind of does the job aside from the large blob there in the middle. Uh, so let's go to the skybox component, and I'm going to go to the aurora here. I'll disable this, and I will also go to the Milky Way and disable that. Now you can see this is kind of more like the default scene. I can't remember if I have the, let's see, the stars. These bright stars are actually a separate layer. I think they're, okay, there is no enable and disable. So you can actually turn those down though. So you can turn it down to 0 on your bright star chance, and it removes them all from your scene. But I liked it how it was there, so I'm gonna put it back at 0.02, which is nice. That seems actually like quite a bit there for how low it is. Let's turn. Oh, okay. Uh, Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at 0.02 because that looked better. But yeah, so the bright stars, you can increase and decrease their settings. Everything should be kind of self-explanatory. Um, I'll leave the glow at like 1. I think that might have been how it was before. I'm gonna just leave it there. Let's see. Bright star size. Okay, so the size is actually kind of counterintuitive actually to the way it actually works. If you decrease the bright star size, what it's doing is it's generating like a grid basically. And so this isn't actually the grid size, this is the cell size. So or I'm sorry, this isn't actually the star size, this is the cell size. But it's how many like cells are in a row. So if you decrease the amount of cells in a row, it makes them, it creates less cells, but they're scaled larger. So with less cells, you actually have larger stars. I should probably change the property name for that because that is counterintuitive for using it. But anyways, if the bright star size is larger, you actually get smaller cells on the generated grid. And you can kind of see that there visually. So I have it turned all the way up, and I think that was the default if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've actually played with the skybox component, so I'll have to go back and examine it. Um, let's see, and then also the spike width. You can see, actually, it's probably better if let me bring this back down to something where we can view what's happening with the stars. Now, if you look at the spike width, you can see it kind of sharpens it up, makes it look better. So I like it all the way up because I think that looks the best as far as like bright stars in the sky go. I'm going to bring that back up. And you can also see um, this the skybox is actually a sphere. It doesn't look like it, but it is. And that's what's causing some of that warping. You can see there's some warping happening to the stars here. They're kind of different shapes and things like that. But it gave it kind of a nice, like, natural differentiation on each of the stars. And also, like, sky spheres are just kind of more modern, I guess. So, um, I did have it as a skybox at first, but everything just looked a little too flat for me, and I want it to be a little bit more dynamic than that. But anyways, that's enough about the stars. But there's more stars settings here on the component. So you can kind of see the color variance there is having an effect, but it's not a super strong effect. So I'm going to leave it as it was. The density, if you start increasing the density, you start to see like the pattern of the grid and stuff emerging. So I kind of like it how it was. Something like this, maybe 0.2. It's still kind of, let's see, put it 0.05 actually. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks actually a lot better at 0.05. So I'm going to leave it like that. Sharpness of the stars is pretty self-explanatory. They get fuzzier if you turn the sharpness down, and they get more pointy and sharp if you bring it up. I think it was on 20 at first, so I'm going to leave it. Actually, I'm going to bring it up just a hair to like 24. And then twinkle speed. Those stars are animated. They are pulsing. You can kind of see it if you look there closely. It probably doesn't show up on camera very well, but they are pulsing, I promise. So I'm going to just kind of leave it as it was. It was around 1.5, I believe. So we'll leave it there. Anyways, that's enough about the stars. There's plenty more to talk about. There is like night ambience controls, which are right here. So it controls like how much the night ambience, like the actual skybox and stuff, has, how much lighting it applies to like all of the different meshes in the scene and things like that. But basically, the whole system is built so that way you can style your game however you want, and it already comes with stylized controls. And that's kind of the idea I'm getting at. I know I ranted there about stars for a very long time, but that is the idea. Another thing is this moon. It is a generated shader, so it's not like a true texture. I will eventually plan on adding a control so that way you can replace the sun and moon with your own textures. But for now, I just kind of want to showcase this because I think this is one of the coolest features of the moon. Is there's actually a moon phase control, so you can adjust how you want your moon to look simply by changing the moon phase slider. So I like it as the crescent there is nice. And then there's also things like the halo size. You can increase it, give it more brightness in your night sky, or decrease it. But yeah, the whole idea is everything is like super stylized. Like it comes out of the box like this. I like the aurora, so I'm going to turn it back on. And you can see the aurora is animated. It's got these nice pillars of light. Um, and like I said, this is all done just through shaders. There's no textures here. Same for the clouds. It's all just shaders, which is really nice. So that's it for kind of the basic environment settings. I did say I wanted to go through the build mode as well. But I think I'm going to save that for another video because that can get kind of long itself. This was just a nice introduction to the engine and the lighting system and like the stylization and stuff. And this isn't a tutorial series. I'm introducing you guys to this thing that I'm building. But we'll talk about more on the next video. So I think I'll leave it here because I'm already at 18 minutes recorded, and I don't really plan to do any edits to this. I'm just going to word vomit all over the screen about my engine. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna just leave it there. Thanks for watching. If you've watched, if you've stuck with me through this whole video, and in the next one I will cover the build mode because that's one of my most exciting and my favorite features in this engine. Thanks. Bye.